if you weren't so AI forward as an organization, if you pick the wrong technology and it's not what it's supposed to do, right? And it sucks, then you're losing that trust with your team as well in terms of what AI could potentially do. So on that note, to you, what is the difference between AI hype and actual AI value when it comes to security operations?
I've been kind of everywhere on the scatter plot of like assessing this myself. Just, right. I think kind of like a similar function of the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think, you asked me this question a year ago, I would have probably been fairly skeptical about where I saw AI fitting. And, here I am using the phrase AI, right? Where I see AI fitting within the security operations world, right? Go forward 6 months, earlier this year, I think I was kind of a little bit more on the hype train, definitely an optimist. And now I'm kind of more in that trough of being, I think, like kind of cautiously optimistic, right? Where I see, AI or agentic capability largely as being supplementary to, I think, a lot of the ops that we do today, whether that be within the threat detection space, whether it be even like in the vulnerability management space or other areas of security operations overall. And ideally too, at least being a vehicle for accelerating processes as opposed to replacing them in full. Because one thing I think about too, right, is, and I'm certainly not the first one to say this, but I think it's, important to note is, right, is that I worry about the kind of offshoring or kind of like the, knowledge as a service functionality of AI to some extent, where once you almost outsource the thinking, outsource the basic mechanics of a lot of ops, you lose then kind of the key intuitions that drive why is this op even important or what does good even look like, right? A part of me almost wonders, right, was the hours, months of my life spent looking at false positives, was that actually really fundamental and foundational to how I look at current atomic events or current alerts, right? Because I've looked at 10,000 things that are wrong or perhaps not interesting. So I know when I see the one thing that is interesting, I know why, or else I know what to do next. So I wonder if that's perhaps taking away from some of like, or that might be robbing to some extent the, maybe future folks that are entering cybersecurity or even folks that are in their career now, where we might be losing that ability to kind of inject our own thoughts, our own kind of framework into what is could be, a full loop, autonomous thinking